days playing from death to life and grace to grace. Good morning, everyone. I hope that all of you are doing fine today. Chilly weather today, and you're enjoying it. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I hope that all of you are ready to get back on track and continue with what we have been doing in Belizean studies. Um, so, for those of you that are just joining, good morning, welcome. What I have planned for us today, good morning, guys, good morning, is basically just a recap on what it is that we should have already done. Um, I'll give an explanation of your assignments that are due, and I'll talk about a little bit of what face to face for those of you that will be coming, what that should look like for the Belizean Studies group. Right, so then that is basically the plan for today. Um, so, this is our revision week. I will begin with a word of prayer and I will be leading you guys. So, 1 second. So let us pray. Heavenly and gracious Father, thank you, dear Lord, for another day of life. Thank you, dear God, for allowing each one of us, Lord, to be here, to be able to have the opportunity to be able to join this virtual session and to enjoy of whatever we are going to be discussing today, Lord. Dear God, we want to thank you, Lord, for this beautiful, Lord, and wonderful day that you have provided for each one of us, Lord. It is certainly a blessing to be able to see your magnificence through a day as beautiful as today is. Thank you for the weather, dear God. Thank you for the chilly weather, Lord. Thank you for all of the blessings, Lord, that you have prepared for each one of us along the day of today. I ask you, God, that you guide each one of my students, Lord, in this session and in the rest of their day, that whatever they may do, Lord, may be done in your will and for your will. I ask your God that you guide them, that you bless their loved ones, their families, Lord, wherever they may be in their homes, that they may continue supporting these students, or that they continue to perform their best, Lord, and they are prepared for all that is coming their way. I ask, dear God, that you guide each one of us, Lord, in this beautiful day. I pray in your Son's most precious name. Amen. Okay, let me just admit these ones. Okay, guys. So I hope that all of you have enjoyed your holidays. It might not have been what you are accustomed to. For example, in my case, it was a little bit different compared to other vacations that I have taken, but I hope that all of you were able to enjoy it with your loved ones. And as we begin, and as we are almost halfway through the first month of 2022, that you are taking advantage of all of the blessings and all of the opportunities that are coming your way. So, with that said, today, I basically want to do, well, we're not going to be doing a welcoming activity. I'm pretty sure that you guys all of your teachers are asking you, how was your holiday? How was your vacation? And I don't want to be asking the same questions, but I'm pretty sure that all of you had a wonderful vacation. And that you managed to at least take one day in all of those 3 weeks to relax, to just sit back and to enjoy the days. And what I'm going to be talking about is basically our reminders and announcements that I have. And before I do that, this is a quote that I'm going to be showing you guys probably for the upcoming cycle, throughout the upcoming cycle. And it says, it doesn't matter how slow you go as long as you don't give up. And I specifically chose this one because today I will be sharing your average, your grades, and some of them might be a shocking shocker to you guys. Others you might say, okay, I expect this. I know that I have this grade. So whatever that may be and whatever your position is, I don't want you guys to just say, okay, I'm giving up and this is it. Because at no point somebody should be saying those things, and especially you guys that are students and you guys that are in your cycle two, and we're waiting patiently to be able to come back face to face for those of you that are coming back face to face. So um, the first thing that I have is the assignment. And that you can go ahead and ask questions. If you have questions, you can add them in the chat. You can unmute and say them orally. But the first assignment, and this was the assignment that was given to you guys over your vacation, it was for you to have done the news report. Those of you that have sent it to me, I have graded them already. I received two of them from the package group, and I received, I think, five of them from the online group. And I have given you guys your respective grades. I have taken a look at your videos, and I'm very grateful for those students that were able to do it and send it to me. I have given you guys a grade, and it should be visible to you guys in the Google Classroom. Everybody else that did not submit it on the due date or even after the due date, your respective grades is shown as well. I cannot give you a grade if you did not do the assignment. Anybody has any questions in regard to that assignment? Anybody has any? Okay. So everybody else is just okay with the fact that they got a zero. This is your time to speak and give your comments. If you have any comments, if you have any remarks, if you have anything that you need to say, this is your time to do that. No? Okay. Just gonna give extra time. Okay. The reason, let me just clarify, because I had one session, one virtual session on the last week of class, and I think it was a Wednesday, and not everybody had joined for that virtual session where I explained what I was expecting you guys to submit for this video. When it came to this assignment, I had explained what were the three things that your news report had to include and when you were supposed to have submitted it. These assignments were due on the 7th of January, which was last week, Friday. And I was to have sent them to the Canadian group yesterday, which was the 10th of January, because the Canadian group will be working on their videos this week so that they can send their videos by the 14th of January, which is this Friday. Because and I think that was something, I'm not sure if it was mentioned to you guys, but this group of students that you are having a partnership with, this is just like an elective course for them to some extent, where they're only going to be taking Spanish until the 21st of January, and then they move on to another subject. So they're not taking Spanish anymore. So if they do not, if we don't give them well, that's why we had put deadlines, right? Your deadlines are there so that we can comply to the deadlines. You guys had practically, I would say, 3.5 weeks to work with this video and to do this video. And I had shared with you guys that if you want to do it um, on the last week, that means on the Thursday or the Friday, or any week throughout your vacation, you could have done it there. And I was available if you had questions. I had sent you guys documents that had information. I had posted it in Google Classroom. You guys had the rubric, and everything was there that was required to be that in that news report. Today is the 11th of January. I have not sent it as yet because I was hoping that some students might send it last night or today. I have not checked if anybody else had sent it. If I were to extend it, I can only extend it until tomorrow, Wednesday, because I need to send it to the Canadian group so that they can make their other video and send it back to us before they stop taking Spanish. Does everybody understand what I'm saying right now? So, if any student would like to, and I will read your grades right now because I have already included this grade in the grade book, right? Everybody that submitted the video, you got the grade that you got. And everybody that did not submit the video, I have a zero in the place of that in the grade book. And I will read out the grades and you will see how that zero has affected your grade, right? And how your grade has fluctuated from since then. And if anybody is willing to do that assignment, you have until tomorrow, and I can say tomorrow, I don't know, 5:30, 5:30 in the afternoon, so that I can upload the videos and I can send it to to the Canadian group, which is the news report, right? So, Angel, I am talking about the news report that is posted in Google Classroom. Let me open the Google Classroom. If you guys look at student exchange program, it has your climate news report right here, which is due on January 7th and 5th, sorry. So I have already graded these. These were there. I posted it on December 14th. So you had from December 14th all the way to January 5th. Some of you submitted it late. I already checked it. You guys have, when it says to the climate reporting video, I had the instructions here and I have the document and I have the rubric as well as to what was to be included in your video. So this was right here posted, and this is the assignment that I'm talking about. And this assignment is worth 100 points, right? And you go over the news report because I sent my questions to you regarding this assignment this morning through Google Classroom. Um, okay. So this assignment that I had given you guys, and those of you that had joined in the last session, um, in the last week of classes, I had explained that this news report was to include, it was to talk about the climate in Belize, right? You guys were going to present yourself in the video as a weather forecaster. So, you could have used your creativity and say, okay, this is, I don't know, CTV3, and then I am the person that is giving the weather forecast for today, January, whatever date. And you can present the content. What is climate change? What are human impacts and impacts of agriculture specific to here in Belize? And you talk about the weather and the climate here in Belize. This video um, was to include three main sections, right? You are to say what is climate change, What are human impacts? What do people do that affect climate? For example, humans pollute, humans do deforestation, and all of these things affect the climate. Those are human impacts. And then you talk about the impacts on agriculture specific to here in Belize. When we have climate change and there is a drought, we have crops that do not grow. Whenever it is the rainy season and we have a lot of rain, it causes for specific crops not to be able to flourish and to grow. And you talk about these things in your news report. So you talk about climate change, you talk about what are human impacts, and you talk about what are the impacts on agriculture here in Belize. And I had included documents that had this information for you guys to be able to see. And these documents are there, and I even wrote down the specific pages. Um, for example, human impacts is found on page 14 of document 2, which is this document, and impacts on agriculture are found on page 27. And you could open those documents and you could use that information, or you could go ahead and research on your own and you could use information from other places. The news report now, and this is the rubric that I had there, gives 20 points for fluency, meaning that you are doing your video and you have a good volume, you are talking good, your speech is understandable, you are not mumbling, you are talking clearly, and you understand what you are saying, right? Your pronunciation is good. 10 points for language because you are going to be doing the video in Spanish and in English. You can do Spanish first and then English. You can do English first and then Spanish. But your video had those two, right? Objectivity, I'm giving 10 points for that. Students is completely objective and balanced. No opinion, just facts are given. You are not going to be saying, I think it rains in Belize a lot because we pollute a lot. You do not use the word I think. It is based on this information. You are giving facts, no opinion, right? Your opinion become objective then, and you are not stating the facts. um, your leads, like when you begin your video presentation, how do you present yourself, or is there a music background, or do you say, or is the name of your newscast something catchy? Those things are leads, something that catches the attention of the person that you're talking to. The news stories, the things that you are going to be talking about, the definition of climate change, what is human and natural impacts of climate change, what are the effects of climate change on Belize's agriculture. And then you just build on your information. How do you present this information? Do you talk about the what, who's, the when, the whys, right? When you say human impacts or not, or nature impacts on climate change, and you talk about pollution, you don't say that I think we have a lot of land pollution in Belize, or we have a lot of water pollution, right? You don't give opinions. You state your facts and you answer questions. What is climate change? And you say what is climate change, right? You don't say, I think that climate change is when the climate changes, because that is not what I'm asking you guys to do. It has to be very objective, right? You are giving information. And if you guys, I like the videos that I saw, you can have your paper. News reporters have their documents, and you have your paper there, and you're reading off of your paper. You don't need to memorize it. And you can go and you can switch and you can have your pen. News reporters do that, right? And you can be reading from your document but have the eye contact to wherever or whatever device you're recording it to, right? So you can have your document there, or if you have it open on your computer and you're reading it from your computer, that works as well. The length of your video must be between 3 and 5 minutes. Now, why do, and 3 to 5 minutes sounds a lot. 3 to 5 minutes, because when you guys are going to be presenting this information, you are going to talk about the definition, you're going to talk about impacts, and you're going to talk about effects. It takes a little time for you to be able to talk about those things. And you can pause. You can say, okay, we have human and natural impacts, and human impacts are, for example, pollution and deforestation. Um, And then you can say what is pollution, and you can say what is deforestation, and you can give examples, and you can talk about, and you build on that conversation. And that's why I put between 3 and 5 minutes. You don't have to keep, like, for example, if your video is shorter than 3 minutes, that is okay. 2 minutes is fine. You can take 1 minute to read in Spanish and 1 minute to read in English, but you don't want to be just reading, and you're reading out the document, right? Take your time and pause and so forth. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions? Was there something that I did not address right now that I did the explanation of the assignment?
No question, miss.
Okay. 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 Just let me quickly check. Okay. Um, yes, that was what I was saying right now. Daniel, you can have your document, your paper with you, and you can have it there, and then you can read. Have your eye contact, pause, and continue reading. You can do that in your news report. All right. I don't expect you guys to be memorizing these things because it's a lot to memorize. Kaylin, in regard to your question, I have not sent it as yet. I will be creating a folder in the drive, um, and then you guys will be uploading it there in the drive. Because last time when I uploaded all of your introductory videos, my Google Drive just got full. So I will be creating a folder and I will be posting it in Google Classroom, and I will just ask everybody to just put their video there apart from Google Classroom. All right, so that is how that will be done. But like I mentioned, you guys have until tomorrow because I cannot extend it more than that. And I apologize if you need more time, but I cannot extend it longer than that because of the deadline that we have compromised ourselves with this Canadian group, right? So does that clarify the assignment for you guys? Those of you that have not done it as yet.
Yes, miss.
Okay. Okay, so now talking about your grades, and primarily the fact that your grades decreased for most of you would be because of this assignment that is missing. All right, now grades, missing assignments, incomplete assignments. Let me, before I even go ahead and say what the grades are, I had already given a deadline to you guys, and then if it was posted in Google Classroom, if you guys were looking at the posts that were in Google Classroom, um, you would have noticed when it is that the deadline was. I had posted a deadline to submit assignments. I posted when the deadline was over, and I posted the students that had were failing at that time, right? Um, So I had posted that information there, and I did not receive any message or any contact from any parent or anything as to that effect from second farm students. So my official deadline for Belizean studies was on December 15th. Anybody that did not send their assignment, and I did not have like a big problem with you guys to some extent. If anybody had missing assignment, it was basically the same students that were not submitting assignments had missing assignments. Um, but for now, these are the grades. I will read them very quickly for those of you that are online first, and then I will read for those of you that are packaged second. Right? So I'll do that. Jeannie 90, Kevin 31, Kember 41, Tristan 74, Alyssa 69, Daniel 75, Miklot 47, Yasmin 30, Zuriel 71, Aziel 72, Kylie 95, Eladio 55, Howard 36, Darnell 70, Shadani 71, Joanne 62, Ephraim 94, Ninel 0, Juan Farte, Argeli 0, Burton 72, Basilio 0, Rusby 93, Ashiani 0, Owen 83, Keelan 72, Zulaimi 23, Hiram 41, Angel 60, Eslin 38. So that is for online. And then package Rene 26, Abel 17, Hosea 30, Jema 90, Trinise 36, Jocelyn 11, Dylan 30, Jennifer 6, Yasser 49, Jose Manuel 14, Frazee 28, Arlette 83, Emmanuel 53, Joshua 0, Tanisha 0. And those are the grades that I have. And like I mentioned, your grades, if it's not what it was expected, it's because most of you have not submitted the news report as yet. And that's why some of your grades are so low. All right. Jeannie, did you not hear your grade? Your one was the first one I said. Okay. The grades in Google Classroom are not false, but the grades in Google Classroom is a cumulative grade, meaning that it has grades from since cycle one and it's averaging it everything together. So then that's why the grade in Google Classroom looks like that. So it's a cumulative grade. So when you guys reach, like every time I add something new, it has cycle one and it has cycle two together. And when we go to cycle three, it will also have cycle three. And when we go to cycle four, it will also have cycle four. So that's why it's averaging all of your grades together. It doesn't really separate them. For that to happen, I would have to open like a new Google Classroom each cycle so that you could see your cycle grades. But then that would be a lot of chaos and you would have so many classes. So then that's why that grade looks like that. All right. But then those are the grades. Once those of you that will be doing the news report submit your news report, I will include that grade and then your grade should change. All right. So then that will be it for that one. Celebration of learning and review assessment. And the celebration of learning, if you guys have taken a look in Google Classroom, the celebration of learning is already posted right here. Celebration of learning. I have the same document because the celebration of learning is basically the same thing as cycle one. You are to do your two best work. So you go back to everything that was in unit three, submit everything in that is here. Sorry, you can go ahead and go to unit 3 because we only did one unit in cycle 2, and you can choose any two assignments from this unit, man's story and God's story, and you can attach it here as your best work. Your reflection is as well one paragraph, and you are to use 2 or 3 prompts, and the prompts are found here in this document, the celebration of learning document. You can go ahead and do that. And then the last one is your video presentation. I am giving 30 extra points for those of you that submit and complete the celebration of learning, and these 30 extra points will be added to your grade. Now, you can only get the extra points if you do all 3 parts. If you do the assignments, the reflection, and the video. That is the only way you can get the 30 extra points. If you only do the assignments and you only do the reflection and there is no video, you get no points, right? So you have to do all three sections for you to be able to get those extra points. And I'll be adding those extra points to your grade. Um, that is for the celebration of learning. Anybody has any questions?
No, miss, no, miss.
Right now. Okay. So then now the other thing that is already in Google Classroom, and let me show you that before it's posted right here under Unit 3. Unit 3 revision assessment, and it has three sections, and this is worth 100 points, and it is due January 14th, which is this Friday at 2 o'clock, right? Now, if you guys go ahead and you have seen that document, then it is this one right here, right? Um, the first section is fill in the blanks. You have 15 spaces to fill out, and I have a word bank provided for you. You choose the word and you fill it out there. All words are only supposed to be used one time. And let me stress on that. You are only going to be using the words one time. All right? One time each word. In the case of Mali, I have Mali two times, and that should already tell you something, right? You're not repeating the words, and you can't use each word more than once. Um, and this is for this first section, right? You fill out that, fill in those spaces. The second section is short answer. Um, and for these ones, you can go ahead and create a copy of this document and you can put it in the document, or you can just go ahead and write it out in your notebook. The first section says outline and describe five major differences between the Mayas, the Incas, and the Aztecs. What is the difference and what is it like for each one? So, for example, if the difference would be leadership, you are going to put that Maya had kings, the Incas had, I don't know, priests, and the Aztecs had something else. Example, that doesn't mean that that is the answer, right? So the difference right here, and then what does that look like for each one of these? Number two, in about three sentences, give a brief description of one of the long term impacts of trading between Portugal and the West African empires. One of the long term impacts, and we covered more than one of those impacts. Number three, outline the four G's of European colonization and describe them briefly. What are the four G's? The four G's, you should already know those memorized: God, glory, geography. All of those four G's, you guys should have those already, what they are and what they mean, right? Number four, in about three sentences, give a brief description of one of the negative impacts of European colonization and exploration of the Americas. And there are so many negative impacts, right? If you want to talk about genocide, you can talk about genocide. If you want to talk about illness, you can talk about illness. But you only choose one of them. Um, and then number five, on the map provided, indicate the location of each of the Native American empires. And you guys had already done this assignment before, so this one should be like a giveaway of points. And then section three, you are doing your reflection paragraphs. You are to write 1 to 2 paragraphs about the unit's biblical integration and the application of the subject's concepts and to daily life activities. And every week on our first session, we would talk about the biblical integration of the unit, man's story in God's story. So you just have to write out what it is that you learned, the biblical integration aspect of this unit, and how what you have learned when it came to the falling and the rising of these kingdoms and the degree that they felt, and all of these things that you learned in the biblical integration aspect, how have what is the application to the subject, and how have you understood that in your daily life activities, or how have you seen that in your daily life activities? All right. And then you just explain that. It says 1 to 2 paragraphs. So you can write one paragraph or you can write 2 paragraphs. All right. And this is your revision assessment for this week. It is worth 100 points. I will be reviewing some of these concepts in our following class. All right. Anybody has any questions?
No, miss, no, miss.
Okay, good. So I will tell you from now the fill in the blanks questions. If you go and you open the contents for each week, the content document, the post that says week one content, week two content, week three content under man's story in God's story, you will find most of those questions and sentences there in those documents, in that content. Those of you that are packaged, you go back to your package where it has the content, you will find those sentences that have the fill in the blanks. The second part, when it says the short answers, the negative impacts, the long-term impacts of of the West African empires, the European colonization, the 4Gs, all of those are things that are in your content and we have talked about. But I will be doing a quick revision on all of these things next class, which is on Thursday. All right. So now, if nobody has any questions, then you guys are free to leave for today. I hope that all of you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys on Thursday.
Minus.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
miss.
you. Bye, guys. Thank you, guys. Bye.